Yo guys, what's up? Today I want to teach you how to do something like this, an experimental cloth simulation in Blender, and let's get started. So at first you gotta add some object of your liking. I used a Megascan from Quixel Megascans, just a simple rock here, and set up a scene with some lights in the background plane. Just let me show you the scene real quick. In rendered mode it looks something like this. Now let me explain how to do it. You can see there's an animated path that I hit in the render. So basically what the path is doing, it paints the weight 0 on the object and tells Blender where to simulate the cloth and where to stay in shape. So here you can see it very clear. And I really love how this looks. It looks a little bit creepy, but I also think it is very unique. So the first thing to do after you added your object to the scene, create a NURBS path and make it wrap around the object. After that, go into the path properties and add a little bit of depth and animate the path with the start and end mapping. I just set a keyframe for the end at the beginning of my scene, and at the end of the scene I set a keyframe with the value 1. What you have to do now is select your object, go into edit mode and create a new vertex group. Select all vertices and hit the plus button and assign. Now go into your modifiers property and add a vertex weight proximity modifier. Make sure to select the path as your target object, select the proximity mode to geometry and play around with the lowest and highest values. You can go into the weight paint mode to see how it looks. You can smooth it out a little bit more or less, it's on your choice. And after all, set your fall off to smooth. After that you finally can add a cloth modifier to your object. Make sure to copy my settings or put them how you like it. Here I did 12 quality steps, set the vertex mass to 4 kilograms to make it look heavier and put a 2 on all stiffness values. On the damping I did 20, 20, 20 and 9. After that you can go down into shape and make sure to put your pin group to your vertex group that you just created. Otherwise this won't work. Another very important factor for this effect to work is make sure that your shrinking factor is a negative value to make the cloth really grow out or pop out of your object. It really imitates a Vellum growth effect from Houdini. Additionally, you could turn on self collisions to make it look more realistic and play around with the gravity. So after you did everything right, just on the cage, bake your cloth simulation. After that, your mesh will look something like this. Add a subdivision surface modifier to smooth out the vertices and make it look even better. So because we want to change the texture on the mesh dynamically when the cloth simulation happens, we also need a little bit of geometry nodes. Very simple. Go to geometry node, create a new geometry node and just search for capture attribute and plug it in the middle of your group input and group output. Make sure to connect the value to the value and connect the attribute to the attribute. Now go into your modifiers panel and click the little button next to value. Make sure you select your vertex group and under output attributes just type a word of your liking. In my case I wrote weight because the texture change is also based on the weight paint. Now go into your shadings panel, create a new texture. In front of you you will see just one principal BSDF. After that, just set up the nodes that you can see here. I added another principal BSDF and a mix shader. Plug both principal BSDF into the mix shader. After that, add an attribute node and a color ramp. Play around with the sliders on the color ramp if you want to achieve some different effects. Now plug the factor into the factor, select type geometry and type in the exact word that your output attribute is called. In my case it's weight. You can see that your material changes when the weight paint changes. Of course, please be creative with your materials, be creative with your paths and with your animations. I think you can do much more with this. For some details I added another Megascan, Quixel styrofoam and some lights which should represent some lasers shining on the rock. So see you next time.